I'm like, today I'm saying everything that is the game. This class was a freaking gain. I sat in front of like thousands of people registered. That's a gain. Meeting and creating content and documenting this moment, it's embarrassing. It's a gain. It's a gain. I'm gonna look back at this day and I'm gonna be like, I'm so freaking proud of you because you fought. You fought for every person who's supposed to be in this course. Makes me a little bit uncomfortable to say this, but I'm gonna come out and say it because it's my truth. I launched $100,000 of digital products in 2015, and in 2016, I launched over $1 million worth of digital products. And then by 2017, I was consistently creating launches that were producing over $1 million per launch. So I'm having a real conversation with you to give you an inside look around some of the lessons I've learned and how I prepare for these launches. And it's gonna be a twofer, which means this video is also going to be taking you until after the launch. And we're gonna talk about like what my hopes are right about now before we go into it. And then we're gonna do a video at the end and we're gonna talk to you about if I hit my goals. So here we go. So let's talk about some of the differences that I've learned over the years about creating these launches. When I was back in 2015 doing around $100,000, I was embarrassingly, in all reality, creating content in the middle of the launch as I was trying to promote the things that I wanted to talk about. So the biggest lesson that I've learned over year is the better I batch my content in advance, the better the launch turns out to be. Why? My attention isn't broken up in between marketing, engagement, and sales. All of my attention during a promotional period isn't for marketing and it's not for sales. It's for engagement. Engagement is something that cannot be duplicated unless it's in real time. What I thought was, oh, I need to be in all marketing. I need to be all in sales. No, you can prepare all of your marketing in advance and you can prepare all the resources you need to close sales. But what you can't do is leave time for engagement. We'll talk about engagement after the launch is over because I don't know how I'm going to be engaging exactly. That's direct messages, it's comments, it's going live, it's responding to questions that are popping up that I wasn't anticipating. That's going to happen in real time, so I'll talk about it at the end of it. But right now what I want to talk about are the two things that are preparing me for my launch right now that have made the biggest difference as I've grown over launches. We talk about batching content. I am batching content in two ways. I am batching it for marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing is, hey, I want your attention because I'm selling a thing. What's engagement? Here is how my thing makes your life better, easier, softer, funner. And then there's the sales period, which is you need to buy this right about now and here's why. So when I batch content, I'm thinking of two categories. Marketing, hey, let's talk about this new thing, and sales. Hey, this is why you need this new thing. When you batch content in this way, it gets you prepared. Let's break this down in a real life example. There were times when I'd be in the middle of a launch and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a photo of me doing this. Let me set up my iPhone and let me get it set up. And here I was trying to create content in real time. Then I started thinking to myself, what kind of photos could I take in advance? And then I take all of those photos. So what does this look like? Well, set up a photo shoot. Now, here's the thing. I understand I'm a little bit lucky because my husband and I are photographers. So I didn't have to hire a photographer, although I did have to buy him dinner. That's the rule here. Okay, so we set up a photo shoot. I planned around 6 or 7 outfits. I made a list of the types of photos that I thought I would need during the middle of the launch, and it's me on my phone, me on my computer, me working, me laughing in a kitchen, me holding up a sign, me opening a door. Why? The doors are open. Me closing a door. Why? The doors are closing. It sounds so cheesy, but let me tell you, when you put yourself in the shoes of what you think your customer needs to see when you're in a promotional period, what are you doing? Taking care of the future version of you. But one thing I want to note here is I wasn't just focused on photos. I was focused on photos and also iPhone video. Why? I want to have stories to post in the middle of the launch. Perhaps I could use some of the behind the scenes in some of the promotional content during the marketing period or during the sales period. So you are going to see that we used footage from that day when I had my hair and makeup done because I don't always have my hair and makeup done. So I was like, let's maximize. Sometimes we were just setting up a phone and keeping it on record while we were taking photos. And then we got some videos. And then sometimes for videos, I was thinking, how might I celebrate? Oh, I think we have a video clip of me carrying a bottle of Veuve Clicquot. Why? Was I drinking it then? No. But was I planning on creating content to say, celebrate your future success? Yes. So, first action item, I have a question for you. Can you make a list of photos or videos that might help you in the marketing and the sales phase of your future launch? Write it down. Pause. We can pause this video. I'll wait for you. Just write it down. Okay, we're all about taking action. When we talk about batching the content, what are we doing? The minute we begin the promotion, which I'm gonna tell you, at the time of this recording, we're on day 2 of our promotional period. Our promotional period will be 3 weeks of promotion and then 1 week of the doors open. So this is gonna be a limited time offer. Somebody has to make a decision between February 28th and March 5th. And let me tell you, at 5:01 p.m. on March 5th, your girl is gonna be popping bottles. Maybe bottles of antacid. I don't know. It could be bottles of champagne. We don't know. But I'm just being very honest with you. I want to give you a front row seat of what it takes to execute a launch. A very big and, I'm just gonna speak it into existence, a very big and successful launch. So that's one component of batching, and now you have your action item. But now let's move into things that happen despite your best efforts to prepare. So one thing that happened was we started creating the title of our webinar. So we teach a live class and we call it a live masterclass. And these masterclasses are gonna be the best thing that you could do for your business to build trust, build credibility, and get somebody to make a conversion. Why? Now, before I get into the why, right now people are watching and they're like, oh, that makes me ill. I would never want to teach a live class. It makes me so uncomfortable. I'm not great on camera. I'm so awkward. Nobody, like, what if nobody shows up? What if I'm only speaking to myself for an hour? Listen, if the biggest thing you're worried about is talking to yourself for an hour, you're doing A-okay. I've been there. I've had classes where people don't show up. I've had classes to where I say, come and show up, and then I accidentally forgot to upgrade my Zoom account. I was teaching, I'm like, why is nobody here? They couldn't get on. So when we talk about all the mistakes that we can make, I wanna go back and say, well, I've learned from those mistakes, and those mistakes made me stronger, and they were just a lesson. So speaking about lessons, I always ask myself, what lesson can I learn before I actually have to pay the price for it? Here's a perfect example. We created the title of our masterclass, and we thought, we're ahead of the curve. We did this 2 months in advance. We love the name of our masterclass. And then I showed the name of our masterclass to a friend, very smart, brilliant, kind woman. And she said, you know, Jasmine, or it's actually, she's from Great Britain, so she just sounds smarter. She's like, you know, Jasmine, it's not resonating with me. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's just so long and people need to see it and immediately understand if it's for them. And I was like, okay, she just talks smarter than normal people. And I was like, I disagree with you. But did I really agree with her? I'm gonna show you what I did. Because in my heart of hearts, I felt like it was true. I felt like she was right, she had a point. Let me show you something. This right here is an Instagram story poll. And so we put the title of our webinar, what we thought, how to create a promotional launch plan to double your revenue in 60 days. We thought, oh, we banging, this is it. But then I tested it against what I thought could be an updated title. It's kind of similar, but different. How to double your revenue in 60 days without a stressful launch. People think that Instagram stories is all about social. I look at Instagram stories as the best place for R&D, the best place for research and development. Do you know companies like Procter & Gamble and Coca-Cola and Meta, they pay millions, tens of millions of dollars on research and development. And you and I, we could do the same thing. We could ask our audience what resonates more with them. The audience voted. 82% preferred the other webinar title. This is me learning the lesson before I actually had to pay the price. So I have to tell you that when I got this news, half of me was like very thankful because I'm like learning in the process and having the humility to change it when you know it needs to be changed. And the other half of me, I was really freaking upset and I was disappointed because we had written all of our ad copy, we had written all of our email funnels, we had written all of the promotion, the lead pages, the conversion pages, the thank you pages, the sales pages, all with that title. So we had to go through every single document and change the title. Again, there are worse problems. Am I thankful that I learned this lesson before I had to pay the price? Yes. So what is your active takeaway right about now? Can you create an Instagram story or a Facebook story, a LinkedIn story? Does LinkedIn still have stories? I think they do. In case they do or they don't. Wherever you can make a story, let's make a story. And have your audience speak to you. Is there a particular title? Is there something, a name that might resonate with them? So that's gonna be your second action item, and I'm literally walking you through exactly what we're going through right about now. Next up, we talk about preparation. We want to make sure that we are setting goals. And this is where I'm gonna close this conversation because I have never done this before and it makes me a little uncomfortable. Are we uncomfortable? Oh, we're uncomfortable. I'm a big believer in setting goals. If you don't set a goal, how do you know that you have accomplished that? If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, right? Or my mom used to say it, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I've held that belief since childhood. So it seems really natural that I'm gonna set a goal. If you have never launched a product, if you have never launched an offer, if this is the first time of you going out and making a debut in your business, you don't know how to set the goals. That's just the truth of it. And so if you were to ask me, hey Jasmine, can you talk about how you set goals for Social Curator? I am CEO of Social Curator. This is a digital marketing agency in your pocket, and we help small business owners create their marketing and put it on social media. I freaking love it. I've been doing it 5 years. I know this thing backwards and forwards. But we're creating a new offer. This is a never done before, and we've never done it in this way. There's a lot of first times for us right now, and a part of me is really excited, and the other part of me feels very vulnerable to be talking about what we want to do with this launch. In the past, I've always said, yeah, well, every launch we've done, it's always been over $1 million. But when you launch something new, you hope that's gonna be the case, but you're not always sure. So let's talk about some preliminary goals. But here's the thing, I am unattached, I have open palms. I am like, I hope my goals are on point. They might be too high, they might be too low. I have no idea. And so what I actually want us to have a conversation with is, can we normalize being unattached to goals? Like, can we just set a goal and say, okay, I'm making the best educated decision I can. That's exactly where I'm at right now. And so our best educated decision is we want between 25 and 30,000 people to sign up. To sign up for what exactly? Well, this is the first time that we are gonna be trying something new. We are gonna be having a revenue bootcamp. It's free, there's 4 live sessions, and no, before you think I'm pitching you, I'm not. Literally, this video doesn't come out until after we've already closed the doors. This is me making a time capsule to remind myself, you didn't know what you were doing, and you actually didn't know the pitfalls and the valleys, and the highlights and the peaks that are ahead of you. So this is you being optimistic. So we hope to get 25 to 30,000 people, and we're having a revenue bootcamp. This is gonna be open for 2 weeks, and we're gonna have 4 live sessions. There are a group of people who are going to want to do a revenue bootcamp. They're gonna want to do it with tens of thousands of people, and they're gonna want to do it together, and they're gonna want the accountability, and they're gonna want that longer gestation period. And at the same time, we're running ads to our live masterclass. There are a group of people who don't want to spend 2 weeks together. They don't want to go to 4 live sessions. They just want to go to 1 masterclass. Now, this revenue bootcamp and this masterclass, they're both pointing to the same offer. And that offer is a course, but it's a course unlike any other course I've done before. In the past, I've created courses where I record videos and people consume them on their own time. This is gonna be a live course experience. I am teaching the classes in real time. So we have 2 mechanisms. We have the Revenue Bootcamp and we have the webinar, and they're both pointing to the same offer, and it's a live course experience. I am literally committing to 8 weeks teaching live classes because I want people to show up. I want people to freaking complete it. And I want to show, I know this is a little bit of the hood in me. Like, if you don't know, I'm first generation Latina. My parents are immigrants, and there's a part of me that kind of put a little bit chip on my shoulder because I was always like the poorest and the dumbest person in the room. And then all of a sudden I found that the more I applied myself, that luck is just when preparation meets opportunity. And so I found myself getting lucky a little bit more the harder I tried and the more that I proved that I was in the room. And so all of a sudden we have these opportunities to do these things. And now I'm like, I want a live course experience for other people to get lucky, because a lot of times people find excuses. They go through a course and they're like, well, that just works for her. It's not going to work for me. And now what I want to do, my dream, and again, maybe it's silly, maybe it doesn't come to fruition, but I believe it is. When we're doing this live course experience, other people are going to say, well, that just works for Jasmine. And then they're going to see other people doing the dang thing. And they can't say, it only works for you. Because then they would have to say, well, it only works for you, and it works for him, and it works for her, and it works for them, but you see, no, there's no room for buts. Not here. This live course experience is not going to be for the faint of heart. So, when we talk about setting goals, the goal for me, yes, I want 25 to 30,000 people to join us in this, like either the free class or the revenue bootcamp. That's our goal. And what do we want to convert from that? You know, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm gonna speak my dang truth. I want 1,000 students. I want 1,000 students. I want 1,000 students. I want to be able to say, we have 1,000 students. Because of that 1,000 students, a percentage of them are gonna kill it. And they're gonna be the people who other people look to and say, they're proof that this freaking works. And so that's my goal. And I'm stating it here now. And again, the goal is open-handed. If we end up with 700 students, I'm gonna be like, yes. If we end up with 500 students, I'm gonna be like, yes. Why? 500 people committed to change their life and their business. You think I'm gonna complain about that? No, baby, nope. So I'm gonna say it because I freaking mean it. I've already won. Yeah, I've won. I think that's all I got. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Did I have RBF? Welcome. I'm embarrassed, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I'm just reviewing. This is gonna be the 4th webinar that I've given. And so as I'm doing this, every time we do it, we go back and look, okay, what didn't work? What do we need to change? How do we need to say it differently? And so that's what I'm just reviewing before this 4th one. And if I had a 5th webinar, I would probably make changes to that too. Actually, I'm not making changes. I'm taking away things. Like sometimes I add too much and it's not necessary. So it's like get to the point faster, address their objections, and then get right to the point. And so I'm not adding, I'm taking away, which at this point of the game makes me feel happier because the better I get with my messaging, the higher the conversions will be. I am teaching a show it webinar. So it is a different company that went to their customers, their clients, and said, we're hosting a live training and Jasmine's teaching it. So I'm not saying that this is my live class. So I do it, this is my live class, people sign up through me, or I will teach through another business or an organization. I am the guest speaker, and then they become a partner in it. So they promote it, they're a partner in it, and then it's like a joint revenue venture. It's so old school, but I have to take my Ethernet cord because when you teach a live class, you just never want to mess with Wi-Fi. So I take my Ethernet and then I actually plug into our network. 100 feet of Ethernet. Then you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. 1 minute. Oh my love, good morning. If you walk in the background, it's totally okay.
No. What time it start?
She's the priority. I'm going live to do that test right now. Good morning, Shamisha. Do you need anything from me right now?
No.
Set it up. Always have 2 things on deck. Caffeine and water. People say, she talks too fast. Maybe you just didn't drink enough coffee. Take a little bit of time, and then I just like calm myself, and I like recalibrate my focus to the one person who needs to hear what I have to say. And so I'm gonna do that now. I feel a little bit weird because you're recording, but this is 100% what I do, so I'm not gonna break up what it is that I do. And so I'm not on camera. I'll just kind of come over here, cruise, like close my eyes, and do 10 deep breaths. I focus on the one person who needs to hear the thing that I need to hear. I forgot deodorant, hang on. That was like really up close and personal. Really. Okay. Woo, we gotta keep our priorities straight. Let's get started with doubling your revenue in 60 days with a proven launch plan. Show it team, you guys are the freaking best. Thank you. Have a good day. Be blessed, y'all. Bye. That was good.
That's really good.
That was good. I'm so tired. These are great for me because I get to be online and I get to be outgoing, and that is who I am. I'm an outgoing person, but I'm a high introvert. So that energy that we just put out there, I'm just, I think I have a meeting. So this is just from now through 1:30. And then at 1:30, we have a whole nother bracket that's coming on in. So we came short webinar from 9:45 to 11. It's now 11:10. I have 20 minutes before this next call. And so when we're in it, when you're launching, you're trying to balance everything. And I think that the best thing for me would be like, okay, what am I gonna do in 20 minutes? This morning I woke up and I told JD, it's only when you're in the middle of launching that you realize the things you need to change. And, I recorded a video back when I was like, this is what I want to do with the course and this is my goals. And I think that they were really great. I think the goals were very honest and they were right on point for being a goal. And then we went through a revenue boot camp and then we did 3 live trainings. And after the first training, I realized, and I hate even saying this because it's embarrassing, but like I told JD, I was like, I feel so stupid for not thinking about this. Like, I've been in the game 9 years. This is what I should have thought of, and I didn't. So this is me just owning that it's uncomfortable. We had a free revenue boot camp, and we have a free training. So we're like, between these 2 mechanisms, we're going to get leads, and we're really excited. But I'm quite sure that the way that we got 22,000 people to sign up was they're not the right audience for the offer. I know that the masterclass, it was strong. And the reason why I'm certain it was strong is because of the people who've bought, who've already invested, I'm going through their profiles and I'm like, you're the perfect fit. Like every person who's bought up until now, I'm like, I get to work with you for 10 weeks. Like your business is go bug wild. It wasn't enough. I only realize this now. I have built 5 years of promoting Social Curator. This specifically talks about social media marketing. The audience that it's drawing into is an entrepreneur who is making less than $100,000. That is the vast majority of who is making up this audience that I've been building over the last 5 years. That was with the strategy. In the last year, I've been pivoting away from just social media content and speaking about growth strategy, marketing, but at a higher level. I wasn't pointed enough at who I was speaking to. So then we go into a promotion, we get 22,000 leads, which is amazing. I'm so proud and happy. And then I realized a lot of those leads were still seeing me as the person who was speaking specifically about social marketing and making a low ticket offer. Social Curator is $59 a month. So when they see an offer at $1,999, people are like, what the heck? I've never launched an offer at that price. I've launched offers at $25,000, but this is the first time that we're launching it for 2. And I think that for the past couple days, I was just beating myself up because I feel like, dang, did I let the team down? What kind of work should I have done on the front end? I know what I should have done now. I should have gone to my newsletter list and started cultivating who I thought were pre-qualified. And then I should have made a small offer to them to test what we were putting out, see where they were at. JD said it best at lunch yesterday. He said, we were throwing a spear in the water, hoping that we would hit a shark. But the ocean is comprised of way more fish. We will never hit a fish with a spear if what we were aiming for was a shark. So this morning I woke up, it was like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I need to go on a walk and I need to clear my mind because I have another training. The energy that I bring in is a direct reflection. If I'm in a funk and I don't feel confident, there's no way I can show up and serve people. So I went on a walk, was out by the water, was taking deep breaths, and I was listening to a book called The Gap in the Game. And we have 2 opportunities as entrepreneurs. The book is for entrepreneurs. And any situation, good or not good, we can look at it in the gap, things we don't have, or we can look at it in the game. What have we been learning? And for the past 2 days, I've been in the gap. I'm like upset. I feel like I've wasted time, energy, money. But I also know we got 5 days. We got 5 days. You're gonna watch me hustle for 5 days. I'm gonna go one-to-one. I've been in my DMs. I'm making personal videos. I am personally responding to emails because I'm just like, listen, you need to hear from me. and understand if this offer is for you. The gap is looking at where you are and measuring it against the horizon. The gap was me saying, this is what we have, and I had these goals for the launch. And so now what I'm saying is, I have these goals and I'm here. I'm a failure. I'm not hitting it. It's not gonna be enough. The gain is looking at where I am now from where I began. There have been plenty of times that I have made decisions that I'm like, oh, you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know how to prepare for this. If I do this again, watch me show up in an entirely different way. So today, I came home and I said, what I'm doing today, I'm like, today I'm saying everything that is the gain. This class was a freaking gain. I sat in front of like thousands of people registered. That's a gain. Meeting and creating content and documenting this moment, it's embarrassing. It's a gain. It's a gain. I'm gonna look back at this day and I'm gonna be like, I'm so freaking proud of you because you fought. You fought for every person who's supposed to be in this course. I have 5 days. I don't know what's gonna happen in 5 days, but I'm gonna show up as all get out. And the people who've already bought, I'm like, wow, you're it. You're it. And so for the next 8 and 10 weeks of this training, I'm saying that's the game. You're gonna learn more about your business. You're gonna learn more about your marketing prowess. You're gonna learn more about who you are as a growth strategist. You're gonna learn more about running businesses, all different types of businesses who are coming in. You're gonna get better. I have to look at that as the game. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Like, what if I'm like, oh my God, and then, you know, when we close on Tuesday, I'd be like, hey, you know, the whole time I believed and I had faith. No, I'm just gonna be like, this is where it is right now. And I wanna document it because other people feel this way and we don't ever talk about it. So this is me talking about it. This is me. I kind of cried. Did I kind of? I kind of cried. I kind of did. The tears didn't fall because there's no crying today. I got meetings. I got podcasts. I got people to talk to. I have lives to change. I have a business to run. I have a team to think. I have content to create. I have a healthy baby daughter. I have a good man who, bless his heart, is just like, you got this today. We're not gonna talk about tomorrow, but you got this today. My family's healthy, my in-laws are healthy, I have air conditioning, I have water, I have Wi-Fi, I have the chance to try again tomorrow. I think on that note, I have it all. Okay, one of the best lessons I learned in law school was to get to your point as quickly and succinctly as possible. So let's start this end of a bookend, this chapter, with the beginning, with the main point. We didn't hit our goals. And I couldn't be more proud. Here's why. Back when I first made the beginning part of this video, and I'm glad that I had it documented, if I can go back to her, I would say, bless your heart. I would hug her and I say, keep dreaming those big dreams, girl. You have no idea what's in store. And then the second part of the video, that was on day 2.5 or 3 of the launch. And I will tell you, in that moment, I had just done my 4th webinar. I was beyond stressed. Not because we didn't have a plan, but because I had miscalculated the type of people we were bringing in. And at that point, you're like, okay, we go from dream and aspiration to salvation. What are we gonna do to save this launch? And to the best of my memory, I started talking about how we were gonna make personal videos in response to emails. But I wanna go back and I want to backtrack what we ended up doing. There were 3 major initiatives, things that we've never done before. And so we make part 2 of this video on a Wednesday. Well, on Tuesday, the day preceding, I sat with the leadership team and I was like, great. So what we're looking at is the reality of us hitting our front end goal. But the problem was who we were pitching to, one of 2 things were happening. Number 1, they just weren't our audience, and that audience immediately knew this is not my offer. And then part 2 was we had a bunch of questions who were wondering, but is this my offer? And I freaking started to realize that the language I was using was something that they didn't use. I remember sitting on an Instagram live with Zaylee Barkley, and I said, so we have to ask ourselves, what's the mechanisms of sales? We have to ask, okay, let's go back. Mechanisms of sales. I started seeing people saying, what's a mechanism? Wait, what did she say? Mechanisms of sales? What does that mean? And I, in real time, am talking on an Instagram live, seeing people talk back to me, asking this question, and I was like, oh, the word mechanisms of sales, I'm talking to a qualified audience, and they're not understanding what that is. Not because they're dumb or stupid, or they're just people who've hustled their way to get this money and they're fully qualified, but they're getting caught up on words that I'm using that I think are normal, and they're actually maybe not so much. So in real time, I paused and I said, oh, I just want to be very clear. When I say mechanisms of sales, that's just another way of saying, what is the way that I'm getting a sale? What is the system that I'm getting a sale? And then all of a sudden, people started getting clear. And I had that Instagram live on that Wednesday, the same day that I gave my 4th webinar that I did part 2 of this 3-part vlog, okay? So I am learning that the way I'm speaking to even a qualified audience is missing the mark. And so I kind of felt like I was on a roller coaster where I'm like hanging on and I'm like, oh God, and you're like, have fun, enjoy the mess of it, and it's hard. I want to be very clear. On part 2, I was talking about the gap and the gain, and every day I had to sit there and like, what's the gain? What's the gain? What's the gain? You don't wake up cheery and all super excited when you feel like things are going sideways. So we went from aspiration to salvation of this launch. So let's go back to the 3 main mechanisms. Number 1, like I mentioned in part 2 of this vlog, we did send video responses to messages. The team was sending video responses to people who we felt were genuinely qualified, but they were asking, am I qualified? Like as a business owner, you're watching this happen in real life and you're like, oh my God, you are so qualified for this offer. I'm sorry that I made you feel like you weren't by not using the exact wording. And here's the thing, you don't know until you put it out there. We never set out to say, how might we confuse or obfuscate the truth? Like, we didn't. We just thought the way that we speak is nomenclature, is normal verbiage. The way that we are communicating, we think this is normal communication. And by and large, it's not. It's not their fault. It's mine. So these video messages, we started seeing a lot of engagement in our inbox. So the minute that somebody's emailing you or hitting you up on DM, they're showing interest. Now you're no longer selling, you're trying to close. That's a different mindset. The second thing that we did was have a Q&A session. We called them on the fence sessions. We literally announced it on Friday. So I did part 2 on Wednesday. On Friday, we said, if you're on the fence, this email was written like that day. We said, if you're on the fence, come and join me for a Q&A on Zoom. I thought maybe 8 or 10 people would show up. 125 people showed up live. And I was like, oh, if you're showing up to a I'm on the fence Q&A session, I'm not selling. I am only closing. So people would come in with their question, and then I had to start putting a framework. Like, here's how you know this is for you. And I will tell you that those Q&A sessions, they were like boot camp for my entrepreneur soul. They just kicked my arse and saying, baby girl, this Q&A session is shaping your messaging the next time you launch it. Because people were saying, okay, but how do I know it's for me? And when I gave the webinar, people would say, how do I know? I'm like, well, just ask your questions. And I'm like, but when I solve a question from somebody who's asking for one person, and I don't give a framework or a way for other people to figure out if it's for them, the only way they're gonna close is if I answer every single one. And that's not how you have a scalable business at all. I need to teach people how to teach themselves if this is the right offer for them. And that's what we did the on the fence session. So they were originally 30 minutes and there was 125 people and I was like, oh my God. I ended up taking it over an hour, but I had another meeting and I was like, I have to get off. And I said, we'll have another one. So we had another on the fence session on Monday. That time we had around 90 people show up. So all I had to do is go back to the framework. Here's how you know it's for you. The third thing, I was gonna say the third mechanism, but since that word's probably like X-nayed now, it's like beep. The third way that we were able to facilitate sales was by taking one-on-one calls. Now, let's go back to Tuesday. We're sitting on this meeting and we're like, people need to know that it's for them because it's a big investment. $2,000 for a lot of business owners is a considerable investment for money, but also time. I'm training live classes twice a week. This is a 2-hour live commitment a week. They're busy business owners. So we have to make sure this is how they know it's for them. So we start realizing that our capacity for the one-on-one sales calls, too many people wanted to have sales calls. And I was like, okay, well, we know these one-on-one sales calls are actually closing people, but none of our team has sales experience. I've never been on a sales call. And so we're on this call where we really need to do one-on-one sales calls. And we're like, great. So who has sales experience? None of us. And I'm like, you, Katie, you're good. You help me put this together. We work on our content together. You, Rosie, CSD, you're going to do the one-on-ones. And then all of a sudden, there was just too much capacity. And so then they were like, Jasmine, start taking one-on-one calls. And so I'll tell you, I'll just be very honest. Half of me was like, yeah, I'll close, let's go. And then the other half of me was like, oh, does this feel thirsty? Does it feel weird? Is it on brand for me to like, oh, you have a question? I'll close you. Are people gonna say no to me? I'm the person who's teaching it. When you're at a point of no longer aspiration but salvation, I just made the decision, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get where I wanna go. So I took any calls. So we had like a queue. We've never done this before. I'm sure we probably did it wrong. We just had a queue. People would sign up, and then whoever had an availability on their Google Calendar, we synced it up. That's the person who got the call. So I started hopping on these one-on-one calls, and I started realizing that within 10 minutes, a person knew if it was for them or not. And I was talking people out of it. It felt really good. Probably why I felt so strong selling is I was like, tell me what it is you do. What is your offer? What's your communication? What's your annual revenue? What are these things? And I went through and I was like, okay, preliminarily, I don't think that this is the case unless you're not including something that I need to know about your business. And people were so thankful that I was just like, this is not a fit for you. So that when somebody did come on and I felt like, oh, this is a clean fit, like, oh my God, if you don't do this, like I got to a point where I was like, your business is so fit for this that like, you need to. I'm gonna be so mad at you if you do not do this thing. It became so convincing because I just felt it inside out. Those one-on-one calls, I don't even know what good sales closing numbers are, but I will tell you this team killed it. Killed it. Freaking smashed it. We didn't hit our goal. We wanted 1,000 students and our offer was $2,000. Well, it was $1,999. But because I'm not great at math, I'm just gonna say $2,000. If we had 1,000 students at $2,000, that would be a $2 million launch. We did not have a $2 million launch. And am I really disappointed about it? Well, yes, but here's a caveat. I set these goals having never known whatsoever how I would convert. I quite literally picked a number from thin air and said, I think I can do that. So while it's admirable and it was best intentioned, I wasn't trying to do this out of ego. I genuinely thought I could sell 1,000 units at $2,000. And then that was not the case. Lots of lessons learned. But I will say, when I did part 2 of this vlog, that was on day 3 of an 8-day launch, I was like, I think things are bad. I think things are very, very bad. Now, we didn't lose money. By day 2, we were already profitable. And so people are like, oh, cry me a river. But I'm like, the amount of time, bandwidth, and energy that the team put into it, and then because it's a live launch, I'm teaching every week for 8 weeks, 2 hours a week. That time investment is what we start measuring against. The time that the team put into it, and then the time that the team will render on the back end. Maybe we didn't lose money from like an ad spend or lead acquisition proposition, but I was worried. And I felt like I was a loser. And I felt like I took the team's trust and I said, we can do 1,000 units. And then the team rallied and we did everything we could. And on day 7 and on day 8, it felt like, it didn't feel like the tides had turned. I feel like we landed on a different continent. That all of the work we had been doing, I am telling you, I sat in front of my computer from 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night, taking calls, making videos, writing new scripts, doing everything I possibly could. And I kept on telling myself, on the days that I didn't want to sit in front of my computer, because I didn't, and on the days that I would like wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I was exhausted, but I promised myself in the middle of the launch, I was not going to forsake my mental health or my health. So I was working out, I was eating clean, I was taking time in the middle of the day to still be with my daughter, to still read her books, but also putting clear boundaries and parameters with my husband and my business partner. I say, I'm not going to be the 50% partner. And I'm sorry for that. But for this like 8-day period, I'm going all in. And he was so supportive. All the details of what you need in a partner, he was pulling through because he saw how much it meant to me and how much it meant to the team. And he saw the way the team rallied. And he's a team player. And he's like, we're all going to do our thing and we're all going to push forward. On day 7 and day 8, the sales came in mass. Did we get 1,000 sales? No. Did we get so many more sales than we ever thought was possible, considering on day 2? Yes. And in a way, in this weird, gnarly, crazy way, if we had actually been on trend to hit the 1,000 sales the way that we had expected, I would be like so happy. I'd be like, hell yeah, high five, it's great, woo. But I will tell you, on the back end of feeling like I think I just made a big mistake, I think I had led the team awry to where we ended up, it felt like we had dirt in our nails. It felt we had dirt in our hair. It felt like we had dirt in our teeth. If I touched my ear, I'm sure dirt would come out. I was so in the dirt of the business. I was in the dirt of building the thing that I wanted to do. And when I look back at that, I'm like, you will never apologize. You will never apologize. Oh my God, no. Boop. No, there are no tears. If you do hear that little like Billy Goat thing in my throat, it's sheer pride. It's sheer pride to build with other people who care about the business as much as they care about themselves, but they care about their business as much as they care about their team member. Everybody was like sending like support. JD went and ordered pizza for everybody and just being like, let's go team, like we're doing this. I feel so much pride in being down in the dirt as we build the next iteration of the business. I think that there's a future version of me that looks back at this version of me and says, job well done. You had no idea what you were getting into, but you did everything that you possibly could. And I look back at myself, who I was not even 7 days ago. I'm recording this. And I look back at who I was not even 7 days ago. And I'm like, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you did everything you could. And we've already had our first live training. And oh my God, the people who are in this program. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. The people who are in this program are the types of people who I am so lucky to work with. I look at their businesses and I'm just like, let me take a bite at it. We're gonna do something good. We're gonna do something great. We're gonna do something great. And I wanna close on one thing, and this is like a business thing. So less emo and like an unexpected surprise. So as we make this offer, let's get into business strategy. As we made an offer, it was $2,000, $1,999. But for math, we'll say $2,000. The offer was $2,000, and the team had this idea that when somebody went through checkout, we would give them an opportunity to add something to their cart. This is what you might call in the business world an upsell. And this is called a bundle. We were bundling extra resources if somebody wanted it. And we were charging $399 for that. If they said no to the upsell before they checked out, they were then sold a downsell, an item for $99. And then they went to checkout. So let's talk about this business strategy here, because we were running numbers on seats and we wanted 1,000. Now we didn't hit 1,000, but here was an unexpected thing. More than 65% of people took us up on the upsell, and about 13% took us on the downsell. So average ticket price per unit was not $19.99. It was above that. So that was something that we had planned for, but we didn't put into our calculations for forecasting because we had no idea what to estimate for who was taking us up on that. So I think the biggest takeaway is there are a lot of different ways to win, and there are a lot of pleasant surprises. And to never be above the idea of getting in the dirt of your dreams to build. And wherever you are on your business journey, like just remember that there is a future version of you that's gonna look back at you and say, I'm so proud you didn't quit. I'm so proud that you did everything you could to make it work. And beyond that, if and when we make this offer again for your biggest launch ever, game on. It's done. It's done. And you wanna know like the biggest takeaway is everything we did for this first launch, we're carrying it over into the second launch. we're gonna have people who are trained in sales, yes and amen. We're gonna put in time to make video responses. In fact, we'll be creating video responses in an archive and a library before the launch starts so that on the first day, people are getting videos that we can then stack. Oh, well, okay, great. And then we will definitely plan for Are You on the Fence sessions, and we'll start promoting them earlier than like on the day of. So everything we learned will be amplified. I always said, our goal is to always start with a small fire, and then every time we launch, put a little bit more gasoline on it. So game on, here we go. There's a lot of ways to win. Thank you guys for making this in. Like, I know I always say there's no crying in business, and here I am like crying. Like, what the heck? I don't care. I don't care. My eyelashes are still intact. That's the important thing. And like, they're so fierce today. I mean, I'm just telling you, I came on and I was like, you're gonna show up and you're gonna look like wide awake and ready to go. And I was like, when I blink, I want you to feel like the wind of success. Like, do we feel it? I hope you do. I hope we do. I hope we feel it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being on this journey, and I can't wait to make another one of these. And then we'll say, we did more than 1,000. Thank you.